For nearly a century, the global car industry was ruled by just three countries: Germany, Japan, and the United States. From them came the names that shaped modern driving: Toyota, Volkswagen, Mercedes, Ford, Honda, BMW. These weren't just companies, they were symbols of national pride and pillars of entire economies. But in just 3 years, the industry has been shaken. Mercedes saw profits drop by 28%. Porsche lost 92% of its bottom line in a single year. Stellantis, the group behind Jeep, Peugeot, and Fiat, reported a $26 billion loss, the worst in its history. Volkswagen announced 50,000 job cuts. And behind all these blows, one name keeps coming up: BYD. A company that until 2003 was only making simple batteries. Back then, the idea that it could compete with Tesla seemed ridiculous. Even Elon Musk laughed at the suggestion on live TV. Today, he's not laughing. BYD now sells more electric cars than anyone else in the world. So how did a small battery workshop shake the entire auto industry in less than a decade? What's their real advantage? And what's happening behind the scenes that nobody's talking about? Because BYD didn't just appear out of nowhere. There's a much deeper story here. Most people think this is just about Chinese brands winning in China. That alone would be bad news for companies like Mercedes or Volkswagen, but they'd still have their home markets. The reality is far more serious. BYD and other Chinese automakers aren't just dominating China, they're expanding globally at speed, and very few can stop them. Take Southeast Asia. In Thailand, BYD captured 40% of the EV market in just 18 months. Mitsubishi shut down a factory. Mazda cut production by 60%. A region dominated by Japanese brands for decades flipped in just a few years. In Singapore, 1 in 5 new cars sold is a BYD. In Malaysia, BYD became the top-selling EV brand in 2024. Now look at Europe. Chinese brands already hold over 11% of EV sales, and that number is rising every quarter. Renault posted its first loss in 5 years. Stellantis is struggling in its core markets. Even Audi is losing ground both in China and at home. Germany's leadership even traveled to Beijing, not to expand business but to ask for relief. Something that would have been unthinkable 20 years ago. And then there's Brazil. BYD captured 72% of the EV market in just 1 year and opened a factory on the site of a former Ford plant. The same pattern is playing out in Mexico, Israel, and Norway, one of the toughest EV markets in the world. The United States is the only major market where BYD is still restricted, but even there, it looks more like a delay than a permanent block. Everywhere else, the trend is clear. Where BYD enters, competitors struggle, sometimes within months. So how did this happen? Cheap labor isn't the answer. Many companies had that advantage and failed. To understand BYD, you need to understand the man behind it, Wang Chuanfu. In 1995, he borrowed $40,000 and started a small battery business in Shenzhen. Within 7 years, he was supplying Motorola and Nokia. By 2003, BYD had become the world's largest battery manufacturer. That same year, Wang made a surprising move. He bought a failing car factory. Investors panicked. The company's value dropped overnight. Critics mocked the idea of a battery maker entering the car industry. Wang didn't even have a driver's license, but his thinking was simple. The future of cars wasn't engines, it was batteries. And that's what he understood best. While others tried to electrify cars, he built cars around batteries. It took 15 years for the world to catch up. During that time, BYD made 3 key decisions. First, total control. Unlike competitors, BYD produces almost everything in-house: batteries, chips, motors, electronics, even software. So when global supply chains broke down in 2021, BYD kept going. Second, hybrids. While others focused only on electric cars, BYD invested heavily in plug-in hybrids. In regions with limited charging infrastructure, this approach made far more sense. It opened access to hundreds of millions of customers. Third, the Blade battery. Cheaper, safer, and longer lasting than traditional design. This allowed BYD to offer lower prices with strong safety claims. Eventually, even Tesla sourced batteries from BYD. But that's only part of the story, because BYD didn't operate under the same conditions as its competitors. Between 2015 and 2020, BYD received billions in government support, subsidies, tax breaks, low-interest loans, and guaranteed contracts. At times, these subsidies exceeded the company's profits. This allowed BYD to price aggressively and scale faster. For competitors, this created an uneven playing field. BYD wasn't just a company, it was part of a broader national strategy. A strategy focused on global industrial leadership. But now, challenges are emerging. Reports suggest higher levels of hidden debt than officially stated. Payment delays to suppliers stretch far beyond industry norms. There are also concerns about sales practices and inventory buildup. Quality issues have led to multiple recalls, and global expansion has brought legal and operational scrutiny. Financial performance has started to weaken, and competition within China is increasing. Even regulators have warned about unsustainable price competition. None of this means BYD is about to fail. It remains one of the largest and most influential EV makers in the world. But the situation is more complex than it appears. Whether BYD continues to grow or faces major setbacks, the bigger shift is already underway. The global auto industry is changing, and fast. And it's not just about cars. The same strategy is being applied across multiple industries. The rules of the game are evolving, and the players leading today are not the same as before. Understanding that shift may be more important than any single company, because what's happening now won't stop here. It's only the beginning.